Hey guys, how's it going out there? Hope you guys are doing well. So today we're going to be talking about good old Tyler Perry because he's kind of been a bit in the news lately. He just had his new Netflix movie Straw came out with Taraji B Henson, which has not been received well, which is not really, I guess, surprising for Tyler Perry. I mean, that's just kind of really, I don't know if there's ever really been like a well received Tyler Perry film. I mean, the fans that like the movies, they of course like the films. But as far as like a general audience, I don't think he's ever really had a film come out that was like really well received. I think pretty much every film he's had, at least for like the last 5 years that's come out, has been just trashed by everybody. What was it, A Fall from Grace, which came out a few years ago? I saw that one. That was fucking abysmal fucking film, even for Tyler Perry standards. I mean, it's no secret that he shoots these films in literally days to weeks. Like he does not have any type of production time on his projects. Like he can make about 6 or 7 movies in a month because it takes him like a fucking week to make one. Probably takes him a day to write it, and then and that's it. And since he is like his own studio, he doesn't have to worry about like getting funding or anything like that. He can just make it and then produce it and release it. So like he can make an unlimited amount of projects. But Straw, that's his newest film that came out on Netflix, and it's a Netflix exclusive because he has a deal with Netflix where he's gonna release. I think this might be the last film, but he has some contract with Netflix where he's gonna make like so many movies and shows for them. He's already made a few. He has Medea Homecoming that came out a few years ago. He has another Medea film coming out next month, and he has this film. He's made a few other films for Netflix, so this is just part of the deal he has. But thinking about Tyler Perry, he's such a very fascinating personality and just Hollywood, I guess, icon because he is. I mean, this might sound crazy, and it is crazy actually. I mean, Tyler Perry. I might be wrong about this, but I'm not. I don't think I am. I think it's not crazy to say that Tyler Perry is one of the most successful people in the history of Hollywood. For the simple fact that, and I might be wrong about this, but he's the only or one of a very select few people who has their own entire film studio. Like he has his own film studio, and he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire that has his own film studio that he can make whatever he wants. He makes all of his projects, he makes all of his shows, all of his movies. He makes everything. He has pretty much no production team. Like he writes, creates, produces, edits, and releases all of his projects. Like like every other director, pretty much, whether they're Christopher Nolan, whether it's Martin Scorsese, Coppola, Ari Aster, Edgar's, the Coen brothers, Ryan Coogler. Everyone else has to go to a studio and then get their film made that way. Even like the likes of Quentin Tarantino. Like I'm pretty much every other filmmaker, like even Steven Spielberg, he has to go to other, he has to go to other studios to like get his projects made and distributed and all that. But Tyler Perry, he doesn't. Like he can make all the stuff he wants, and he can make whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he doesn't have to worry about getting it approved or any type of studio interference because he is the fucking studio. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He can just make it and make it however he wants to. Which for Tyler Perry, I think is not a good thing. What's so strange about Tyler Perry is that I just don't see his entire filmography. I've seen, I'd say, about 96 to 97% of Tyler Perry's filmography. I have not seen, was it Maya Coppola that came out? Just because I don't have Netflix, so any of his like Netflix exclusive stuff, like the last few years, I haven't seen that. But like everything else, I saw Duplicity, I saw Homecoming before I canceled my Netflix subscription. I've seen Jasmine Blues, all the way back to Fall from Grace, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, the endless, slew of Medea movies, Acrimony, I can do bad all by myself. I've seen, I'd say not all, but a solid majority of his films, and nothing that he has ever made, if you combine the entirety of his filmography, to me, warrants him having anywhere near the success he has. No, nothing he has ever made has ever warranted anything near what he has. Like, I mean, there is countless filmmakers. I mean, fucking Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler, I would argue, who has nowhere near the amount of experience when it comes to making films and being in Hollywood. Ryan Coogler, far more deserving of having half of what fucking Tyler Perry has. There was a plethora of directors and writers out there who've made such better work that are far more deserving, that could do so much more with what Tyler Perry has. And that's also the frustrating thing. Is like, not only does his success not correlate to his work, but what he makes with all of the pretty much the endless resources he has. I mean, like I was saying earlier, Tyler Perry is his own studio. He can make anything, and he can make it however he wants to. He doesn't have to worry about getting a budget or negotiating a budget. I mean, and he can get pretty much anybody for casting. I mean, like he doesn't really have to worry about negotiating to get someone for casting, or not being big enough for this A-list actor to want to work with him. I mean, now there are some actors who don't want to work with Tyler Perry just because they don't want to be associated with that type of low caliber filmmaking. But like other than that, like I mean, if he wants like a famous actor or even a not so famous actor, he can get him. Like I mean, he has the resources. Like he's very well connected. He is one of the most connected people in Hollywood, just in entertainment in general. But like it's just like what he makes with this endless resources are trash. Like he is a multi-billionaire with, I think his studio is a multi-million-dollar studio, but it's a very high dollar studio. I think it was or is larger than some of the actual major studios out there as far as like their production law. Like it is massive in scale. Like he actually had like his whole cast living on his studio property during COVID because I guess it's that massive. And so he has all these resources, and you look at the products and it looks like a fucking college film. I mean, there are people who have never went to film school who have no budget, who just have basic editing equipment, basic computer equipment, basic everything, and they make far superior content to this multi-billionaire Hollywood mogul who makes about 50 things a year and makes all this money, and yet he can't put any type of production into his films. And that's what also, I mean, to me, this is where I'm at with Tyler Perry, because as much as everyone, a lot of people have criticized him for not putting any effort into the scripting. I mean, God knows Tyler Perry needs some fucking writers, because the shit he makes is just like, what the fuck, my guy. Like it's just some of the stuff he writes. I have no idea. I get that he is like very, I want to do everything, but man, you are not that type of person. There are some directors like Tarantino, Nolan. There are some directors who can write and direct their own material. Tyler Perry is not one that can do that with good quality. And the fact that he has all of this and he just does not do anything with it. Like where I'm at with Tyler Perry is he's not going to change. Like at this point, Tyler Perry is going to do what he's been doing forever until he's done making films or whatever, because he knows his audience, he knows his market, he knows who his films cater to, and what he does works. I mean, despite how poorly made they are, despite how poor the writing is, despite how he makes 1,000 of them a year, it doesn't matter, because the people who like those films, they like them and they watch him religiously, they support him religiously, and he has a following that's been built up for, at this point, several decades now. So he has a built-in fan base that's just not going to leave him, and they're always going to support him. And he has no incentive to get better. I mean, why would he? I mean, he's at the top of Hollywood. He's a billionaire with his own studio. You can't get any bigger, except for like owning Hollywood. Like you cannot get really any bigger than what Tyler Perry is. Like he's already at the pinnacle of success. So there's not even like there's an incentive for him to get better so he can get more, accolades and become more successful, more established. He is as established as you can possibly get as someone in Hollywood. Really, anyone in entertainment. Like he is as big as you can get. So like he's not going to change, but like it's just like I see just so much waste with what Tyler Perry has. Like with what he has, he could easily have like whole other departments. Like I know Tyler Perry, he's very protective of like all the stuff he does. Like he doesn't want no one to write his stuff. He doesn't want anyone to interfere with his own creative. That's fair. That's his right to do that. But like, you could also have like other departments of people. Like he could have like sub studios of like other creatives that make entirely different, projects. Like he could be making tons of stuff. Like he could be like his own network. I mean, he pretty much is technically BET. Like, I mean, pretty much that network is him, even though he didn't buy the network. But you get what I'm saying? Like, he could employ so much, different types of creators to make shows, to make short films, animation. Like, I mean, imagine if Tyler Perry used all the resources he had to like employ just an army, like a legion of different creatives, from animators to claymation, puppeteering, live action, mix of animation, live action, like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit style, sci-fi, mystery, noir. Like he could have like an entire, juggernaut of a studio making just tons of different types of content that are not his. That he can do his own thing, make his own projects, make his Medea films, make his Taraji P. Henson movies, make his struggle black films like he loves doing, his torture porn films, which is what they are. He can do that, and he could have a whole other department of people making their own things that are not in any way associated with him. Like it's made from his studio, but like they work independent and they do their own thing. Like that would be cool. That would be, I think, really fascinating to see that type of system. Because I mean, the one thing with Tyler Perry and the one thing his supporters kind of use as a defense, which I think is kind of fair, is like, well, his films might not be the best, but he does support, specifically black actors, and that's true. I mean, he does employ a lot of black actors, just a lot of actors in general. I mean, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I mean, it's 2025. Like, it's to me, that's just such a low benchmark. Like, I don't think that we should be just giving credit because you hire people like for a project. But I mean, it's commendable. I'm not trying to take that away from him. Like, I mean, he does employ like, and I will say he doesn't, hire like a ton of A-list actors. Like, he'll hire like a lot of random nobodies. Like he had a Falsey Tube from YouTube. Like he'll hire fucking YouTubers to be in his films. He'll hire people who've never acted before in their life. He'll even hire actors who've like really been falling hard on hard times, like Sinbad. Like I think in the new film, he got Sinbad to come back because I think Sinbad, he had a stroke actually a few years ago and he hadn't been doing too good for a while. And Tyler Perry gave him a part in this new film, so he's got some work now. So I mean, Tyler Perry, he does do some good things. I don't want to make it seem like he does nothing for anybody or like he's not really charitable. But like for what he is, like for how massive of a juggernaut in entertainment in Hollywood as he is doing pretty much nothing in comparison to how successful he is. Like he is doing, to me, at the bare minimum to just above. Like I mean, having your whole crew, live on your studio, I will give him props for that. That was commendable. That was a really good move. But like, I mean, it just I don't know. I feel like at this point, Tyler Perry should have been able to have made several different A-list, directors, a whole new generation of talent, a whole new, like, pretty much like a whole industry of like, up and coming, animators, puppeteers, claymation, just different types of creatives. Like, he could be doing so much more, and he really doesn't. He just kind of makes the same shit over and over again, and he employs different people, but it's the same shit. Like that's the thing is like, yeah, he hires all these people. He'll hire unknown actors. He'll hire actors who haven't really been in a lot of stuff over the years. But it's the same shit, man. It's the same thing that he does all the time. The same types of movies, the same characters. I mean, you could really recycle a solid majority of Tyler Perry's films, and it really would not be that different from each other. Like you could take the majority of his filmography and make it one film, and that would fit. Like you could really condense half of his filmography into one film, and it would be almost impossible to differentiate from almost any of his other films. You have some, generally a black woman who is in a very abusive, suffering relationship. She's miserable. She's in a relationship with a guy, typically a black guy, who is just cartoonishly fucking evil, cartoonishly abusive. And she's just, goes through most of the film just this like meek, victimized, suffering victim. And then at some point, some guy comes along, pretty much like a Mr. Perfect, Prince in Shining Armor, comes around and whisks her away, and she kind of has a quasi good ending. But I mean, this so many of his movies are just the same thing, man. It's like, man, like at this point, even if you're gonna every director, I mean, even the great ones like Nolan, the Coens, Tarantino, every director has their style. Like, that's just the thing. Like, once you've been a director long enough, you get your own style. Like, everyone, when they see like a Wes Anderson movie, it's a Wes Anderson movie. He has a distinct style. A Tarantino film has a distinct style. A Tarantino film. So, like, every director has their style. And Tyler Perry has his style, for better or worse. But it's just like, man, like the style of films that Tyler Perry makes is just like it gets to a point for me, at least. I don't know about anyone else, but it gets to a point where like I don't really see the point in watching another one of your films because it's the same thing more often than not. And even when it's not, it's still fucking bad, or it's regurgitated pieces of other films that you've made, just done worse than you had originally done them in the other film. And and so like I mean, the style that Tyler Perry has had, like you would think that like at this point he would have like just by accident gotten better, but he's actually gotten worse. Like, I mean, you look at his early films when he was not a billionaire, when he did not have Tyler Perry Studios, and they were a lot more decent. Diary of a Mad Black Woman, not a really good film, but I would say that's a far better film than The Fall from Grace from a production standpoint, from a writing standpoint, from pretty much any standpoint. I'd say that Diary of a Mad Black Woman is a far superior film to Fall from Grace. And A Fall from Grace was made when Tyler Perry was a billionaire studio owner. And Fall from Grace was made when he was, a young, up and coming, didn't have a whole lot of money, filmmaker. And it's like, it's just bizarre how he has regressed as he's gotten more successful. Like you would think it should be the other way. It should be the other way around. Like the more successful you get, the better your work gets. But it's like as he gets more successful, as he had gotten more successful, like the quality of the work just rapidly declined to where now, like, I mean, he makes something and it just seems like it's damn near indistinguishable from anything else he's made. But I will say that's not entirely true because I have a theory about Tyler Perry, and I think this is actually kind of true. I think that Tyler Perry is generally on autopilot. I think when he makes, whether it's one of these, straw movies or, Die from That Black Woman or I Can Do Battle by Myself or, whatever movie. I feel like at this point he just like kind of just goes through the motions and he just kind of makes it and tosses out there. But I feel like when Tyler Perry actually has a project that he's passionate about, like he really actually is invested in it, he can actually do kind of good work. And the reason I think this is because of A Jasmine Blues. That was one of his first Netflix films that he made, I think at this point, like 5 or 6 years ago. But that film, I would say, out of all the films I've seen today, to this day of Tyler Perry, I would say that film is probably his best film. I would say, personally, his two best films for me are Acrimony and Jasmine Blues, and then I would toss in Diary of a Mad Black Woman just because it's a Tyler Perry classic. It works. But A Jasmine Blues, it's so different from his other films. Like it's shot good. I mean, like like it's not the best film. The production is not astronomically phenomenal. But for Tyler Perry, it's actually very competent. Like it's shot good, it's staged well, the production's good, the music's good. Like you can definitely tell watching like when I was watching that film, I could tell like Tyler Perry put a lot of work and a lot of passion in this film. And it turns out that A Jasmine Blues had been a passion project of his for a very long time that he had wanted to make, but he just didn't have the resources to back when he first started making films. And so I feel like he can make quasi decent good films for Tyler Perry standards. If it's a passion project or it's something he's passionate about making, then I think he can actually make something really good. Or at least, good for Tyler Perry standards, but I feel like that's just so far in between. Like I feel like just most of the time he just makes, the same thing because he knows it works. He knows how to make it. He's been doing it for, damn near 30 years now. So it's just effortless for him to make it now. But like I do think that there are like those rare occasions where he does make something that he's really into, he really likes, and he actually puts some effort into making it. And I wish that he had more of those. I wish that he had more passion projects that he would put more time into. Because when he does, Jasmine Blues. I mean, yeah, it still had the same kind of Tyler Perry writing problems, same type of character problems. Like as far as from a narrative and a story standpoint, it was better than most Tyler Perry films, but it still had a few of the problems that your regular Tyler Perry film has. But like, but I still think even with those problems, it was still a far better film than even today than most of its films. Like Duplicity, which came out this year, it was far better than Duplicity. I'm willing to bet that that film is probably better than the upcoming Medea film is going to be, and it's probably better than Straw is, combined. And so, like, maybe if he just like focuses on making like just passion projects, I don't know what Tyler Perry really like. I'm not sure what his passion projects will like really look like. Just because he's just made the same type of films forever, I really don't know what he would see as like a passion project. Like, I think, was it the Six Triple Eight, the film that he released on Netflix earlier this year, the one about the black women in the military. I think that one was kind of a passion project. I didn't see it. I have not seen that, so I don't know how good or bad that film is. But it seemed like that was something that was a pretty personal, pretty passionate film. I really didn't see many people talking about the film either way. Like even people who normally talk about Tyler Perry films, I really didn't see no one talking about it. So I don't know if people just weren't really aware of it or if it just kind of flew under the radar. I'm not really sure, but that film seemed like it was something he was definitely passionate about. But kind of just thinking, about Tyler Perry, going forward, I kind of, yeah, I wonder, like what Tyler Perry, like what his, I don't know, I guess his legacy for Hollywood will be because, like I said, I guess you would have to say he is one of the most successful people in Hollywood, at least today. I mean, as of right now, I would say he's probably in the top, successful people in Hollywood combined. Because like it's not like Tom Cruise or The Rock or Ryan Reynolds or Michael B. Jordan, because he's not just like a very successful actor or a very successful director. Like he's a successful director, producer, actor, writer. Like he has every possible accolade possible that he is just insanely successful in. To where you're a billionaire and you have your own film studio. Like I don't even think like The Rock has that. No other director I really know has one. Like the Coen Brothers doesn't have one. Spielberg doesn't have a studio. No other director that I'm aware of has anything near that. So like he's definitely up there, with the best in Hollywood, which is kind of just fucking crazy. Like that's just so bizarre to me because like he got famous off of Medea, doing the Medea plays back in the day. And I mean, obviously the Medea films, they've always had their audience. Like, he made that character based on, black women he knew when he was growing up. Um, so like he's always had an audience, but like I've never been able to figure out how the success of Medea scales to him becoming a billionaire because I just don't see Medea as a property or as a character being a $1 billion IP. Like, I, I mean, I like Medea every now and then. I think Medea can be funny, and I think there are some films that are not, the worst films that are like kind of digestible that you can watch. But as far as like Medea as a concept, or as even just like a property being like something that could make you a billionaire, to me that's just fucking insane. Like I just cannot. I have not been able to comprehend that for years, and that's one of the things I just cannot really, I guess, kind of not rationalize, but just kind of make sense of, is how he is as successful as he is with the type of work he makes. Because I feel like if anyone else made the quality of work he did, they would just be pretty much a nobody who would never make almost anything. Like they would never be within 1,000 feet of getting anything of like a IP, or like getting a franchise gig, or getting like a very lucrative deal with a studio. Like they'd look at them and be like, "What you want to do? What with this? The shit you make? Hell no!" But for Tyler Perry, he's made a massively successful career of it. And so, I mean, as far as like his legacy, I mean, he's definitely one of the most successful people in Hollywood. And going forward, I think it's probably just going to be, just going to continue, because I mean, he's only going to get, more projects made, going to get more money, get richer, just even possible. I guess he could become a trillionaire. So I guess it's not like he's like maxed out how rich you can get. You can always get, richer at some point. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just the fact that he has the status he has in Hollywood, and seeing his place, I guess, like even in just like in Hollywood history, like I feel like he has to be one of the most successful people ever in Hollywood. And that's just, to me, I don't know. I just cannot. I really just cannot really grasp that. Like that's just something. Every time I think about Tyler Perry, I just have to try. I try to understand that, and for the life of me, I just cannot fucking get that. I don't get it at all. But like, what else I think also kind of bothers me about Tyler Perry is like, I just think about what other people in his position, what they could have done. Like, I mean, imagine if back in the day, Orson Welles had the resources and the money that Tyler Perry has. He would have had a ton of good movies and shows and unique projects. Like, I mean, Rod Serling, the creator of Twilight Zone, imagine what he could have done with Tyler Perry's resources and money. He could have made a ton of good shit. He would have made tons of great TV shows, tons of great movies. He would have made probably a lot of good literature. Stanley Kubrick, like imagine what he could have made with all of the resources of Tyler Perry. Like that's the other thing. Is like it's just like he has all of this, wealth and resources, and he just does fuck all with it. To where it's like, what's the point of having it if you're not going to really fully utilize it? Like I don't really see Tyler Perry making anything to really warrant or give him like the justified, status of like having the accolades he has. It's just not there. It's just not. It's not something I associate with Tyler Perry. And really, I don't see him making a film or anything that's gonna make him, be in that caliber of like filmmakers where like they definitely deserve to be, at the pinnacle of Hollywood, legends. I just don't see it. But that's just that's just how it goes. I don't know. It's just very very strange, because every time Todd Perry makes another film, I always check out the trailer, or like look at some clips, and I know it's a Tyler Perry film. Like if you go into a Tyler Perry film knowing what it is, you'll have not a good time, but if you're not a fan, you might not like it, but like you won't just be just suffering through it. Because I used to suffer through Tyler Perry films, because they were just, somewhere it's still terrible, but like if you go into it with just the mindset knowing this is a Tyler Perry film, this is what you're gonna get, they're not as bad, but they're still far from being good. But yeah, I guess this is where I'm gonna wrap it here. I think I've done enough rambling on this. So yeah, I think I'm call it a day here, and you guys out there take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time.